And Darth, I think you hated it, Darth. I think you were like, "Where's the lightsaber? This is not the power of the Jedi."
Lightsaber, what the hell?
The Flash was a show that didn't quite live up to its name.
The Flash was a superhero origin story and a hidden agenda.
The Flash left me with lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight. The Flash was an entertaining pilot.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special edition of Falling Towers Watch the First podcast in which we watch the first episode of a series so that you don't have to. Our guest, co-host, superstar, he's the Dean of Natural Sciences. He's the Dean of Arts and Sciences now at Duke University, as well as an occasional Star Trek science advisor. His name is Dr. Mohamed Noor, but you can call him Dr. Mohamed Noor.
I'm pretending to be the greatest American hero, but I most certainly am not.
Believe it or not. We are also joined today by the jive turkeyest of jive turkeys. He's an actor, writer, producer, and fabricator, which I did not know. We'll have to talk about that a little later. And that doesn't mean a liar. I mean, it does, but in this case, I think it means something else. Desmond Heck.
Hello. Welcome to myself.
Welcome to his room with posters.
Yeah.
Darth Shuey is hanging out. He's got a Silver Surfer toy somewhere, and he's painting stuff. There it is. He's ready to party.
Flashback,
and his Indiana hat.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So today, as you may have guessed, we're talking about The Flash, Netflix's show. Yes, it's Netflix. Mohammed and I had quite an adventure about that. But it is on Netflix. I don't remember what year it came out. Do you guys know?
2014.
2014. Okay.
Good knowledge.
Thought it was a little bit.
Thank you, Google.
So we're going to talk about that. If you'd like us to review a show, in the comments below, just type WTF and the show. Like you could say WTF Daredevil, and then tell us where to find it. Probably Disney Plus. WTF
Judge
greatest
Judy.
American hero.
Judge Judy.
WTF Judge Judy, because Desmond's got a Judge Judy picture framed on his wall. Ta-da!
Yeah, see there.
She is the guardian of the
autograph too. Yeah.
Oh, it is autographed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's the guardian of the air conditioner. It looks like. Anyway, so let's talk about this show, shall we? Oh, also, everybody, please give this video a like if you're listening in. Do a 5-star rating, give us a nice review, comment below, share it with your friends. You can even make friends at Starbucks by saying, "Hey, have you heard of the Watch the First podcast?" If they say no, say, "Give me your digits," only so I can send you the link, not because I like you. Anyway, let's start off this show with my favorite segment. That's why I'm always in a hurry to get through this, because I just want to get to my favorite segment, which is predictions.
Or as
Mohammed calls them. Which one?
Predicaments.
Yeah. We've known each other for a while. Darth and I have known each other since middle school. It's been like 9 years. Mohammed and I have known each other for several years. Desmond, wow. We've known you and Darth and myself. We've known each other like 15 years or something crazy since the North Hollywood days.
Yeah, Blockbuster.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, that's how you could tell us a long time ago. Des and I worked together at Blockbuster.
He used to call me Wes Bentley. He used to be like, "Hey, Darth and Desmond worked together," and he would be like, "Hey, your roommate's name is Wes Bentley."
Yeah, doppelganger, man.
Yeah, it's our cool bank accounts are doppelgangers too.
Yeah. No, it's cool. You can measure time like AB, like after Blockbuster.
Oh, it's 7AB.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
When Blockbuster still existed, except for that one that's like up in Portland or something. But anyway.
Oh yeah, right.
So basically, we can all pretty much predict what the other person liked or didn't like. Mohammed and Desmond are going to have a tough time with each other. But other than that, it should be
Yeah, I've
pretty
never
easy.
met you, so.
I don't
Muhammad, I'm going to predict that you liked this. You're kind of a superhero fan. Actually, we never found out if you do like superhero stuff more than regular sci-fi stuff, but I feel like you kind of do. Darth, I'm going to say that you were lukewarm on this. You're usually pretty forgiving with shows like this. You can you don't mind if something's a slow burn. You don't mind if, a lot of things, you're going to kind of go for it and be like, yeah, it was pretty interesting. You
Very
can kind of watch
forgiving.
anything. Desmond, I think you liked this show. I think you may have seen it before, and you're happy to watch it again. That's my guess. But what do you think, Muhammad?
So Ryan, my guess is you're going to be the most critical of the four of us, or the three of us at least. So actually, I guess at that point now I can't say a number, otherwise I'll give everybody a hint where I fall in. But Desmond and Darth, I think I'm going to guess that both of you like this show a lot. That's my guess. Is that you guys were very positive on this, so potentially even more positive than Ryan said. So that's my guess.
What do you think, Darth? Any predictions?
Oh man, yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough question. You had no idea this was going to happen.
I'm gonna say Ryan was kind of lukewarm on it, maybe a 5, a generous 5. Muhammad, yeah, I would say probably likes it. I don't know how you feel about like fake science. What do you call science?
Pseudoscience.
Pseudoscience. Thank you.
Technobabble.
Yeah, I feel like anything that's what is it?
Technobabble.
Technobabble. Yeah, but like by Hollywood writers that don't know anything about science. Desmond, I'm gonna say I feel like Desmond. Yeah, I probably agree with Ryan that he probably watched the show already. Probably watched the whole thing and enjoys it.
There's 8 seasons just to say what the whole thing is.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
there's more coming. It's not done. I just looked this up.
Wow. All right, Desmond, what do you think? Do you think I liked it, Darth, Muhammad?
Yeah, I think Brian, I think you love the show. Muhammad, I think you liked it because you seem like you love that hero stuff. And Darth, I think you hated it, Darth. I think you were like, "Where's the lightsaber? This is not the power with the Jedi."
Lightsaber, what the hell?
Yeah.
Solid predictions.
Okay.
Desmond is willing to go there. He's not afraid. He goes for it. All right. But that's what we expected. I'm sorry. No, that was our predictions.
Yeah.
Getting lost. I'm already jumping ahead to my second favorite here. So that's what we all expected. Everybody at home or predicted. That's what we expect of each other. Make your predictions. Do you think I liked it? Do you think Darth liked it? Do you think Wildcard Desmond liked it? Do you think Muhammad, the greatest American hero fan, liked it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below or in the live chat if you're watching this live. Take your time, type away, no rush. While you are typing your predictions, Muhammad is going to buy you a little bit of time by telling us all what this show is even about.
I will indeed. So, crime scene investigator and home invasion survivor Barry Allen loves science and is great at doing his job, but has reliability issues and a giant crush on his adoptive sister, Iris West. In this origin story, Star Labs tests a new particle accelerator that causes a major accident and release of dark energy and X particles, or X elements, I can't remember what they call it. One victim was Barry, who goes into a 9-month coma, but awakens with super speed and healing abilities. But another was criminal Clyde Marsden, who has the power to control weather. Working with Harrison Wells and the team at Star Labs, Barry learns to control his powers and to become a hero. But Harrison Wells may have secret motives. Dun, dun, dun.
Interesting. Poignant. All right, everybody. I was jumping ahead earlier, but you have to know what this show's about before we can even make our predictions or move on. Now we are going to compare and contrast what we expected before we watched the show with what we actually got upon viewing it and hearing it. In a little segment that Dr. Mohammed Noor likes to call
Expectations.
Why would he call it that?
Get 'em.
Shout out to Michael Kenyon Rosenberg for making up
We love
that
him.
weird ass
My role model.
Okay. So, Mohammed, before you watch this first episode of The Flash, what is this? CW probably? Feels like CW.
It was on CW, that's correct.
CW, yeah.
The first episode, by the way, is entitled Pilot.
Creative name. Never heard that one before.
Yeah. All right, Mom. What did you expect before you watched this first episode?
So I have watched this show before this. This was not the first time I'd seen it. In fact, I've seen like over 6 seasons of it. So I had a pretty good idea what was coming. I haven't seen all 8, but I've seen like over 6 of them. Most of my son wanted to watch it when he was younger, so that's what got me started in that. So I'll talk about what I expected this time as opposed to trying to remember back in 2014. So I don't really remember. But actually, I'm pretty sure we watched it right as it came out because I remember he was very excited to see it. He at the time was saying his favorite superhero was Flash and he wanted to see this show. So that was a big thing. I actually went in with somewhat low expectations based on the last bits of it that I had seen. But later in the season, later seasons are not excellent, or at least maybe repetitive. So that made me come into this with a slight like, oh, okay, let's go back to the beginning and see how it started. I remembered what the basic plot was. I remember the premises associated with it, but I'll talk about my reaction to it shortly.
Lots of good stuff there. Some juicy nuggets. And speaking of juicy nuggets, Desmond, what did you expect before you watched this first episode?
Chocolate nugget here. I actually had I'd never seen the show before. I hadn't heard anything about. The only thing I knew about the Flash was I think he was in one of the X-Men movies. I think.
No.
Okay, that's not.
Oh, maybe
I had no idea.
I feel like that's messing with us now.
Yeah. I had no idea.
idea.
So I was like, I had no idea what this. Had low expectations because I was like, this is going to be like a bad ripoff of some good comic, and they're not going to know what they're doing, and I'm not going to like this. That's what I was thinking when I put it on. But I had no idea about the show. I didn't know the show existed. Well, I mean, I heard about the Flash, but I didn't know that it was like it had been 8 seasons of like the Flash. Yeah, I was Googling. I was like, oh wow.
It's a direct spinoff from Arrow. They're actually, the origin story with the lightning thing actually happened in an Arrow episode too, and then they redid it for this.
Wow, interesting. Which is why I was like, isn't that Green Arrow guy?
That was
Green Arrow guy.
Either.
That was him.
I haven't seen that yet either. Although our good buddy, shout out to Frank Zanka, says it's a great show. I remember him raving about it back in the day.
And he's a big comic guy.
Yeah, he is. He's huge. Darth, what did you expect before you watched this first episode?
Well, I don't know how you guys feel, but like right off the bat, when I see CW, I'm always like, oh boy, here we go. Maybe if I was like 20 years younger, maybe. But
yeah.
So that's kind of what I was expecting, and it's TV. But I don't know if you guys hear a lot of people people say, oh, DC, drops the ball when it comes to movies, but they do know how to get the characters and the stories right in the shows. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of what I was expecting.
I've definitely heard that many times where Marvel has poor TV shows and great movies, and DC has poor movies and great TV shows. Yeah, that seems to be kind of like a consensus of what I've heard a bunch of times. Now, I haven't watched really any of the TV shows of any of them. Like I haven't seen Arrow or The Flash or really any of these Marvel shows or DC shows. So I don't know.
Maybe a few first episodes.
But so I kind of expected this to be good because everybody says that they're all good. And, I'd heard of The Flash specifically. So I thought, okay, so this is probably one. I kept getting it confused with Daredevil. And I texted Mohammed that we're doing Daredevil, and then I realized last night at 12 a.m., so it's 3 a.m. where he is. I was like, oh my God, I hope he hasn't watched it already, because I told him Daredevil and I meant The Flash. And when I was a kid, I think I remember liking The Flash the most. Like, I thought The Flash was cool. I've liked the DC guys, like he just seemed cool, He's the fast guy, and when you're a kid, you want to be the fast guy. The guy, whoa, he's super quick and he can run. Oh, is that cool?
He's a comic relief in the cartoons too.
Oh, that's
yeah,
sad.
he's kind of more of a funny guy, right?
Whenever they make a
cartoons.
comic relief character, they usually make him like shitty. He's just like anyway. So I expected it to be pretty good. That's all I really expected. I didn't know anything about it at all, though. But that's what we expected. Muhammad, what did you actually get upon viewing this episode?
Upon viewing it, I have to say, I was blown away with how good it was. I was like, dang, like they really did. I mean, at least from my perspective, they did a fantastic job of setup. There was a lot of, and especially since I know where things are going, for me, it was really nice seeing like, oh, this is how that first happened. This is how that was first portrayed, and seeing the things that are referenced a lot later, really, really beautifully laid out. And there was both an origin story. There was the build up in terms of his relationship with Iris and things like that. There was an actual plot with an actual bad guy, though. That wasn't developed super, but it was at least something that was in there. So there was a nugget to take home as opposed to just an origin story. And there was a teaser there of like, maybe everything isn't just as what you think it is. That Harrison Wells clearly has some other thing going on in the background. What's that?
Oh, just saying, yeah, there's something else going on with him.
Yeah. So I have to admit, I was blown away with how good it was. Like, dang, I wish the show had stayed that good.
What about you, Desmond? Were you blown away as well upon this first viewing, or what'd you think?
Well, okay, so I'm like a horror movie fan, so I like scary stuff.
See it in the background.
Okay, so I like dark stuff. So unless like The Flash is like a serial killer or something, then I'd be like, okay, this is
called
not
The
really
Flesh.
But like I know there are parts about it that pulled at my heartstrings, like like him losing his mother at the very beginning of the. Like I've related to that. Like almost started tearing up that part, and then there were like parts where I got goosebumps. Like when the Arrow showed up, I was like, "Ooh, this is so freaking cool!" Like because he's very he looks like a superhero. I was like, "Ooh, that's that Arrow guy." Even though I've never seen the Arrow show before, I just recognized like, "Oh, that's that Arrow guy. Oh, that's a cool little cameo there, man." And then I got goosebumps in different parts of the show. So yeah, I mean, it's like it's got the good ingredients for a good superhero TV show, I thought. And it was cool to see Draco Malfoy as the villain in the episode too. That was pretty awesome.
Oh, is that who that is? I didn't know that.
No, it just looks like him. I'm just kidding.
But
they look like him.
None of us know enough about that to know. Or I don't. Okay. I sure don't know. That's a Harry Potter guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only seen the first movie of Harry Potter. I didn't.
The full-grown black man's
that
own
movie series The Flush. Anyway.
Oh, actually, I forgot to mention too that I like the teasers too, like the little thing with the broken cage that said Grodd too. Like, oh, little teasers for other things. Grodd's like, if you watched a lot of like Justice League things, he's like this giant gorilla that's super smart and stuff like that. But it was just a little teaser.
Yeah, I remember that character.
But it was just left there.
Whoa, good eye there. That's cool. Darth, speaking of good eye, you got two of them. What did you think upon? What did you actually get upon viewing this first episode?
Yeah, I agree with a lot with what Muhammad said. I think the is a really good setup. Like that's pretty solid writing. There's a few, and I thought for the most part pretty good acting. There's just and some great casting. There's like one or two moments that I feel like they kind of got to do with it, like a certain like little bits of dialogue that it's like you could tell it's kind of more for like the teen audience. And to be honest, that scene with the Arrow, like I liked it, but it did feel like it was like they needed to squeeze that scene in somewhere, and they didn't know where to just like it seemed like they just kind of just dropped it anywhere,
Yeah.
And it does feel like you do get that kind of tie-in feeling, like they're really trying to like almost it's too forced, what if you didn't watch the Arrow, and you're just like, what the hell? Who is this guy? What the hell's going on?
Mm-hmm.
He's
Like,
the Arrow, man. I'm just kidding.
It's what?
Yeah.
He's the Arrow.
He's there. Yeah, you didn't
I'm
know
just
that? What
kidding.
the hell? No, and then like what was Barry doing there? Like he's just hanging out on a rooftop or something. Like it's like you don't know
See-
where that scene came from. You know, it's like all of a sudden he's there, and then this other guy shows up.
I thought he was the reason that the Flash's bones healed so quickly, and he was called the Marrow. So
oh my
What?
gosh.
Oh,
That
man.
one-
Oh my gosh.
made my room smell
Weird.
weird. How that one-
The Marrow.
I'll tell you what I got. Muhammad is right that I think I am going to be the most critical of this, and I'm going to be really prying into Muhammad's brain a lot into this one. I think because what I mostly was bothered by was the science of everything.
Oh yeah.
It was just like the main thing for me. Well, okay, overall, I didn't get a terrible show, but what I got was a show that was a very mixed bag. There were some things that I did like, and some things that I didn't like. And I just want to get into that right now, if you guys are okay with that. First
Let's
of
do
all, it's a show that's really trying to push the science element. You know, they're using all this scientific mumbo jumbo. Some of it might make sense, some of it might not make sense to scientists like Muhammad, but the rest of us are like, it all sounds fine, I guess. But the things that are verifiably impossible and stupid, I'm like, look, if you want to use the scientific angle with me as a viewer, if you want them to be a bunch of scientists and you want them to explain a bunch of science, then you also have to cover your bases on the other science and physics especially that don't make sense. Now, some people are going to be like, hey, don't look too much into it. It's a superhero thing. Okay, cool. But then don't try to act like you're a science show. For example, a dude gets hit by a car on his bike, flies over, okay? So presumably the car is going, 20, 30, 40 miles per hour, right?
At least.
So the impact of him landing on the ground or whatever, or flying or whatever is going to happen is going to hurt him. But he's saved by a guy who's going 200 miles per hour. That's going to break every bone in his body. And it's also going to break every bone in the Flash's body when they collide. Because a 200 mile per hour guy that's going super fast to save you is saving you from a 40 mile per hour impact by destroying every bone in your body with a 200 mile per hour. Anyway, there's all kinds of stuff like that. And this, Muhammad, please tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're absolutely right.
Desmond's
So I
like going like, oh my God, this guy's
I
ridiculous.
don't know if you ever heard me do an interview about like science consulting for TV shows, but The Flash is always the counter show I always use in that context
Really?
about like
Science is
the
terrible.
worst science ever is always in this show. I always
Thank you
use The
for
Flash
validating
as that
this.
example.
I knew it. I knew it. But then when you said it was a great show, I was like, shit, maybe I'm
I just
wrong.
completely suspend belief on all of it. I mean, things like, for example, they mentioned chronic and unexplained state of cellular regeneration is why he's able to heal. Like, yeah, that's called cancer. Like that's not healing.
Wow, good point. So, okay, and then on that subject, so then the bones that, when he broke his radius, I think it was, right? When it broke, okay, fine. I could suspend disbelief that somebody's bones can reheal super fast. I don't really understand too much of that, but it doesn't seem so crazy impossible to believe that some kind of magic thing could make that happen. Or we do see that in cancer. You're right. It regenerates super fast, right? But the bones were like 2 inches apart. So that's where I lose. That's where I go, wait, if you didn't show me an X-ray that show those two bones, so they could regenerate and close, but what's pulling them together? Do their bones have like little hands that reach out and grab each other and pull each other? Anyway, stuff like that. I'm like, if you're gonna pretend to be a science show, then you got to focus on all the science, not just. Anyway, sorry, Darth. Darth
Even my son,
this sucks.
Even my son, when he was in high school, would shake his head at the show and be like, about the science. He's like, yeah, this is like so clearly just completely made up stuff. Like it wasn't fooling him in the slightest.
They should have like a science liaison there with the writers or something.
Oh, that person would have their job cut out for them. Oh my gosh.
You mean?
That'd be like a full-time job just for the show.
Yeah.
I love it still, but it's like, well.
So you were able
Like
to
you said, you
suspend your
gotta
disbelief for all of that. But see, for me, again, it's just like, I could, if all of it was like that. If all of it's like that, fine. But they were trying to pretend, I don't know, Desmond, defend this show. I know I'm being too critical.
I mean, the Arrow, he's so dreamy, though. I mean, isn't that enough? You know, isn't that? Come on, man.
That's the bottom line, really. Come on.
Yeah, no, like,
I
no,
was gonna say he's a pretty
uh,
charming guy, though.
who?
Picked a charismatic. The kid that plays Barry.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Barry
wrote down he was like, yeah, he kind of reminded like Peter Parker. Like he'd be a good Peter Parker
I
almost.
thought the same.
Like,
Yep.
Yeah, you can see that.
Kind of likable
Good call.
guy, and like I liked how he like when he ran into the elderly gentleman when he's chasing the guy. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." You know, he likes to say he was sorry.
Yeah.
You know, who else would just like like barrel through somebody else? But he didn't do that. He stops. I was like, "Oh, he's a nice guy."
Sweetie.
I'm sure the director told him to do that.
Yeah, it's in the script.
Did
Yeah.
anyone watch the original Law and Orders before? And were you excited to see Jesse L. Martin back in a similar sort of role?
He's a great actor, by the way. He was one of the ones that stood out.
It was cool seeing the guy from The Sopranos too.
Oh yeah.
Which one is he?
He was one of the detectives at the beginning of the.
Oh, okay.
was
I saw like one or two.
One that
episodes.
died?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of those guys was in The Sopranos and Law and Order.
No, Law and Order is different. That's Jesse L. Martin.
Yeah,
was,
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great actor.
That's the guy who's his
Tom
adopted
Cavanaugh,
dad, who is Captain Joe West.
He's
Yeah.
good.
I like
Those
him.
guys
Was
get the
anybody
credibility
surprised?
for sure.
As soon as he woke up 9 months later, I was like, that girl, his sister lover is
Oh yeah,
dating.
what the hell?
I immediately
You
was
already
like,
knew she was
she's
gonna follow
dating
that
that
other
other
guy.
dude. That's
Eddie
a
Thawne.
certainty. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I was
also,
pissed, man.
yeah, Muhammad, we know that the muscles would be atrophied after 9 months. But look, I could put that aside because they explain that. They explain, oh yeah,
did
your
try.
muscles didn't atrophy. I mean, I'm not too worried about the science not working there because that's part of the Marvel or
Superhero
DC
crap.
magic. But his brain also would need, like, he wouldn't remember how to talk, right?
I'm not sure about that part. I mean, a neurologist talk about that part. I'm not sure.
He wouldn't even know how to say Cheerios when he's hungry.
So again, that could still be the super healing thing, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the lightning, man. The lightning
Okay.
fixes.
That works.
So John Wesley Shipp plays his dad. John Wesley Shipp is a very interesting guy. He's been in like soaps and things like that before too. But he's a local. He's actually from North Carolina. But his
Nice.
dad was like a big civil rights guy that, like, you know, I think he just passed away actually. Not John Wesley Shipp, but John Wesley Shipp's dad. He was a big civil rights guy and he'd gotten into a lot of trouble because he was a pastor and he was trying to push for integration and things like that. But
Whoa.
just, you know,
Oh,
shout
wow.
out to John Wesley Shipp and his dad.
Yeah,
he's
I
also-
thought he was a very good actor too. And I actually thought, to me, that was the best scene of the show. That one actually got
That
me
was a
emotionally
very-
when those two were
yeah.
going. Like, the dad was a great actor, Mr. Shipp, you said his name was?
Yeah, he played the Flash in the 90s Flash series.
That was the one I remember.
Really?
back in the-
Really?
Yes.
I love that. Darth,
yeah,
you saw
they
that?
got the Flash playing the Flash's dad. That's pretty cool.
Yep. I didn't watch that show, but I know that's true.
Darth,
Wait a
you
minute.
saw that
Is
show?
that
I remember it back in the day. I saw a couple episodes, but we were like around in junior high when that one came out.
Hmm.
is that the Flash? He saved every one of us.
I wish. Flash
Or is
Gordon.
that different?
Yeah, that's different. But that's
Oh,
a
Flash
great one.
Gordon. Yeah,
Yeah.
never mind.
Oh.
Like, wait a minute. I'm dating myself, man.
That's a real old one.
Yeah.
Flesh Gordon. Yeah, I really like that scene
Yeah,
at the
That
end
was a
where
great
they
scene. Live your life.
I was like,
That was a good
man,
scene.
if the whole episode could have had this kind of heart and this kind of acting, I would have been like, and I thought, actually, what I put in my notes was that what this episode does better than anything by far is character dynamics, character, relationships and dynamics and how they affect each other. And it was really hammered home by that scene between the father and son. But that's really what it is. And I thought that if they had focused more on the character relationships, then they could have, I thought it would have been a better episode. Or if they focused more on the Flash and the superhero stuff, because that's what I'm watching it for. I'm watching it for all the superhero stuff. And so I kind of felt like they were trying to do too
Doing a
much.
lot.
And when I was saying that this show didn't live up to its name, it's because at one point I was like, geez, is this episode over yet? And it had only been 28 minutes. I was like, what? How has
packed
it
a
only
lot
been
in.
28 minutes?
Yeah, they do squeeze a lot in there for sure.
They were saying they use anti-laxative to squeeze it all into one
Out.
episode. They like
Squeeze it all
sprayed
out.
around the set. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's the
Desmond with
flush.
inside word.
That's the flush.
That's
Oh,
the
my goodness.
Well, Dart, did you have some favorite moments?
I'll probably say the acting. You know, to be honest, like yeah, I did the senior actors. I would say all the senior actors really kind
agree.
of carried the show. God, anything that I like the ancillary characters too. Like you could tell they're all going to be kind of become bigger characters moving forward and everything. All the lab assistants and everybody, you know. It seems like a pretty good setup, you know. Like it's a pretty good. It seems like a pretty solid like setup pilot origin.
Yeah.
Are the things I liked about it.
What about you, Desmond? What were the shining stars for you?
Okay, so I took notes.
Nice.
Yo, damn, nice.
Yeah,
A+.
I was like, I like the funny. Oh, the pen excrement joke when he scooped.
That was
went over
pretty
the-
good.
He's like,
That was funny.
my grandfather gave me that pen. That was pretty
Before
funny.
Yeah.
he died.
Before he died.
Yeah.
That was pretty
And,
solid.
So I like the guy playing the Flash. He was like a likable guy. That was funny. Oh, that was funny when the bad guy said, "Oh, I have a plane to catch," and then there's like the plane is like right there, and he like gets on the plane. I was like, "Who does that during a shootout?" That was pretty funny. That was a funny moment. And I feel after I was saying like when the Flash figured out that he has the superpowers, you know, and he's like doing like that. I was like, oh, that's how I feel like after I've had a cup of coffee. That's like how I felt. And then she's dating Pretty Boy. What the hell? Oh yeah, like, surprised. I was surprised. I didn't know like she was dating him. That was like a huge shock for me. I was like, what are you doing? You're cheating on the Flash with a Pretty Boy. And then, but is that like his sister or something, or what's going on?
Adopted sister.
Stepsister, right?
Oh,
Or
yeah,
adopted
okay, well,
sister, yeah. Or I guess you can call it step.
yeah. Maybe it's better. She
He was
yeah.
adopted into their family.
Oh,
Is that-
okay.
Is
Yeah,
that
they-
stepsister or is that adopted sister?
I guess it would
Is
be
it-
adopted. I guess it wouldn't be step. There's no
Adopted.
marriage associated with it.
Yeah, right.
That's even
adopted
worse.
sister, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so is that I guess that's
I mean,
I'm
there's no
sure
relationship.
I'm sure it's legal, but it's certainly frowned upon. And I was like, whoa, that's edgy for the CW, where they're like,
yeah, what the heck?
I know we grew up together and we shared bathtubs and
Bath
rubber
together.
duckies and stuff, but like, can we still do that?
She's like, no. Oh, and I got goosebumps when he was spinning around, making the tornado go the other direction. Like I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I had no idea the show came out in 2014 until I Googled it. I was like, oh wow, this. So I mean, and what happened? Apparently, it was with the CW, and then Netflix picked it up. Is that what happened?
I don't know.
Muhammad, we need you for
Yeah,
this
I
one.
don't know the transition.
Oh, no,
I
okay.
stopped when I
always
stopped
known
watching.
it
It
was
was still on
Netflix.
CW. Maybe it still is, and
Mm.
Netflix just
Okay.
has the old ones. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, that was cool. Yeah, I didn't know it was on for so long. So it's obviously, I mean, a lot of people like it if it's lasted 8
Yeah, that's
seasons.
interesting. I didn't realize it was on, but I did assume that it was an older show, and by older I mean like older of the superheroes, because those superheroes things really only started popping up around 2012, 13, 14. You know,
They all
And then
spun off
since
each
then-
other because initially there was Arrow, and then Flash spun off of that, and then Legends of Tomorrow spun off of Flash. Basically,
who
It
are
took
the
some of the
Legends of
people from-
Tomorrow characters?
we haven't seen them yet, but in Flash later, there's going to be
Oh, yeah, they're
Captain
tomorrow, that's right.
Cold and stuff like
Captain Cold.
Captain Cold. Yeah, they have great names. And you were asking something earlier about Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
Because I think Darth mentioned Reverse Flash, and you asked if he's really slow. Actually, there is a character who makes things slow, but it's not Reverse Flash. He's called the Turtle.
No
Sure.
way. I
But
love
it's
it.
the guy who plays the turtle. It's the guy who
Somebody
played
named-
the Chief in Battlestar Galactica, Chief Tyrrell.
Oh,
It's that actor.
nice.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
Chief
Oh,
Tyrrell. What's his name? Like Douglas?
Edward James Olmos?
No,
James
that's
Olmos?
That was
That's
that's
Admiral
the
Adama.
that's Edward James
Okay.
Olmos.
yeah. I think his name is Douglas or something.
I don't remember what his name is.
The actor or Aaron Douglas, maybe.
That sounds familiar. I'm not sure.
Yeah, let me do a quick Google.
Chief Tyrrell, Tyrol.
Played by, let's see, Aaron Douglas. Holy shit!
Ah, good job.
How did I do
Good
that?
knowledge.
I didn't know that. It's
But
one of
that-
those things that you don't know, until somebody.
Yeah, it's in your
you're like,
brain.
wait, there's something. It's one of
Hey, I
those
knew
7
that.
things bouncing
Yeah.
around in my brain.
Supergirl was part of the same set too, and they'd often like once a season they'd have like a crossover event with
I was
all of
gonna say,
them,
a
with
lot
like
of
Arrow and
crossovers.
Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow and Flash and things like that. So
Nice.
That's exciting.
Yeah, you can tell Disney's doing that with Star Wars, eh?
Yep.
Yeah, crickets. Yeah.
No, they are, and we're covering a lot of them. Boy, this show has done a lot of Star Wars series, so everybody check those out. If you love Star Wars, then you're right.
How would you feel about the Flash showing up like on Tatooine or something? Would that be like sacrilege to? Yeah.
Well, then Darth would get his
He
wish.
like flies by Yoda or something.
You'd be like, "There's this
Ooh.
lightsaber that Desmond was mentioning."
Obi-Wan will freeze him with the Force.
Oh,
Yoda's like, fast he is.
Have you guys seen any? So, Muhammad, you've seen a bunch of DC shows, right?
Yeah. I
Darth
didn't
and
watch Supergirl, but I watched the others.
Darth and Desmond, have you guys seen any DC shows?
I haven't. No.
Oh, there was Batgirl too. That was recent. I think I may have seen.
Oh,
Yeah.
how was it?
had to recast her too, right? Like after the first season.
There
or
was,
something?
yeah, there was something. I
Okay.
watched like the first episode or so. But I didn't keep watching. I think it's just because of time, not because of quality.
You chose not to watch the second. It happens. Yeah, I haven't seen any DC shows either. Although the reason I maybe part of the reason I got this stuck in my head is because people used to always say that Daredevil was so good and Daredevil was so good. And then a friend of mine once was like, if you just watch the first minute of the Daredevil, you'll be hooked. So I watched the first minute and I was like, nope, I win the
Was
bet.
that the gasoline scene where he goes blind?
Yeah. And I moved on. I was like, see, I feel better now. I've proven that I'm not susceptible to this 1 minute stuff. I wouldn't have been hooked after 1 minute of this either, but it was fine.
Is there anything that you watched that after 1 minute you were like, ooh,
Judge
whoa.
Judy, right? You know,
10 seconds of Judge Judy, and
10
you
seconds
are
of Judge Judy, man.
Yeah, like, oh,
in.
Maybe the opening scene of Lost. That may have.
Oh,
too.
absolutely
Lost,
right.
first,
Yeah.
yeah.
First 10 seconds
Yeah.
of Lost, and you are hooked. That's it.
Yeah.
That's why it's one of the
What is
best pilots
going
ever. Breaking Bad, one of the best pilots ever as well.
Breaking Bad,
Um,
yeah.
There are a few of those out there that are just A-plus pilots that within the first
Not a
few
brat right off the
seconds,
bat.
you're in.
So I have a question for you guys about one of the characters. What did you all think of Cisco? Because he's a little different later seasons. I'm curious what you all thought of him in
Changed
this
a
one.
lot. He's
Who?
definitely like that kind of
Cisco, he's right there. This one.
like the
His
lab
name's
assistant guy.
Cisco?
Yeah,
Oh,
Cisco
yeah.
Ramon.
Cisco
This guy.
Ramon.
Oh,
or
that's
something.
right. Yeah.
Cisco Ramos, something.
Stealing our name.
I thought he was cool.
Yeah.
Kind of quirky and funny.
Yeah,
I liked
considering
him
he
a
only
lot.
has, like, a couple lines, yeah.
I didn't.
Does he
I,
turn into a
I didn't like him at first because I felt like, why is he so
Cisco Ramon,
smiley?
yeah.
You know, he just seemed a little over the top in that regard. But he definitely grew on me a lot and ended up becoming one of my favorite characters in the show. But,
Yeah, okay. I was
but
gonna
right
ask
at first,
that.
I was like, what's off? He seems
I-
off somehow.
I found myself wishing that those characters that were in the lab at Star Labs were way nerdier. I feel like it would have been, but that's what you get with CW. You get 90210. You get whatever the superhero is in Beverly Hills 90210, right?
It's pretty
Or-
cool now, yeah.
Something like that. Whereas, like, I would much rather see them 40 years old, nerdy, old or weak
Weedy,
looking,
I don't know how to
or
dress.
ugly, or whatever, just anything that makes them more interesting. Because I feel like it's less interesting if they're just all like 22-year-old, good looking, quirky, intelligent, like
yeah.
make them weirdos, make it realistic. It's more fun.
Yeah, I remember. I remember catching up like somewhere where they're like in the middle of an episode of Flash before I'd seen anything on the Flash, and it was a scene. It was like the two kids and they're like in a coffee shop or something, and they're talking about some kind of like relationship problem or something. And I was like, oh, the Flash. Ooh, I want to see some of this. What's this all about? I was like, oh, it's just another CW teen drama. I was like, damn, they ruined the Flash. What the hell?
Yeah.
Orson Welles kind of fit what you were saying, though, Ryan. I mean, he was a little bit older, and he was, it was more like an Elon Musk, I guess, than like a scientist, but still.
Who, the guy in the wheelchair?
Oh yeah, even he was like a
Yeah,
soap
I
star.
thought he was like a Professor X, Jeff Goldblum.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
I was like, this guy's like Jeff Goldblum, but sitting in Professor X's chair, basically.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Jeff Goldblum, everybody knows that Jeff Goldblum is very charming, as is our guest today, Desmond Heck. Desmond is an
nice
actor
segue.
out in North Hollywood. He's a writer, producer, cosplayer. But one thing I didn't know about
right?
you, Desmond,
I
is
didn't
you're
know
a
that about you.
fabricator now? What the heck?
Sure. Yeah. A fabricator of what?
Yeah, what did you fabricate?
I'm not even sure. Like I make fabric or
Oh, I thought that's what it said in your. No, a fabricator is an actual is somebody that makes
Replicas?
they make like prosthetics and things like that. Sorry, I thought that's what it said. And then when you
I don't
smiled
do
and said,
that.
yeah, at first I was like, okay, good, that's what it is. But now I'm just totally thrown off. Okay, so we're sticking with what we know you are, which is an actor, a writer, producer.
Filmmaker.
Gold Rush apparently just finished, according to IMDb. I'm like, what is that?
Oh, that was just like it was a horror movie that a friend of mine had worked on, but it's still in post. It's been in post production. It's like in post production.
Okay.
But yeah, I was an actor in that. Yeah. It was like there's no gold in it though, if that's like weird. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh. However, you made a movie called Spider that's out on Tubi, right? What's that about?
Yeah, a horror movie. It's called Spider. It's on Tubi. It's about a woman who gets involved in witchcraft and murder to win someone's affections. It's pretty fun. And it kind of, it like you watch and you go, like what? It makes you kind of tilt your head like that. Like that. Yeah, and it's free. It's free on Tubi. Want to go check it out.
Were you the spider?
No, I wasn't the spider. Yeah, no, it stars Novi Brown and Callie Roses. They're kind of like like my version of the Black Swan almost. And I wrote it. It's very, very trippy flick. Thank you. Yeah, it's very trippy. If you like trippy dark stuff, you'd like it.
Yeah.
Desmond's got quite a nice list now, quite a nice resume of movies, horror movies, or thriller movies, or scary movies that he's written and produced.
I like the creepy off stuff. That's what I was saying. If The Flash had been like a killer TV show, it'd be pretty exciting, man.
I love murder on that show.
We need more murder. Call it Flash Flood.
You might like Arrow more. In the first season of Arrow, he just goes around killing people.
Are you serious?
Yeah, pretty much with the first season of Arrow.
I knew there was a reason why I liked him, man. I was like, Arrow, man. Yeah.
So everybody at home,
there's something about him, man.
WTF Arrow in the comments below, and maybe we'll watch that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Desmond, what was the first movie that you wrote and produced?
Oh, the first one. Technically, it was La La, because that was the first full-length one that I did. But I did a lot of shorts before that. But that was the first full-length flick, which Ryan is in, by the way. He's like in the he plays a butler in the.
Oh, that's right.
I
remember that. I remember my favorite line. You guys were asking me to improvise, right? It was a very kind of improvised movie. And that's where I came up with the line. I said, yeah, I'm a butler. I buttle.
Yeah. I buttle, yeah.
I buttle. Darth was just saying it to himself to be like, does that work? Yeah, that works. I buttle.
Yeah.
I will tell you the origin of that, though, was back in the day, the Hobbit, when he said he was a burglar, and they said, well, go burgle then. Go burgle something. So I thought a butler buttles, Yeah, that was a fun one. That was a good one, Desmond. How'd that turn out?
Yeah, good. It's I just threw it on. It has I think 16 million views on YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah, I just threw it on there several years ago and just kind of let it sit there. And I was like, I checked it. I was like, oh shit, it's like a lot of views, man. And I never monetized the channel, so I threw away so much money, man. I was like, ooh. But I didn't think it was going to get that many views. I was like, I was going to get a few hundred views or something. Yeah.
So everybody check that out on YouTube. Desmond, go monetize that right now, and then everybody go check it out.
Before everybody checks it out.
Yeah.
Do we have the link below too?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If you type two actors moved to Los Angeles, it should pull up. Yeah. Everybody wants to check it out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Check. I'm looking for it. Ah, there it is. La La, full movie. 6 years ago. Desmond Heck. Well done. So everybody check that out. Great.
Yeah, Ryan's in it.
Yeah, hey, check it out. I buttle in it. Right?
He's shirtless. He's shirtless too. Ladies.
Oh, is that picture? Is that from
Yeah.
Well, that's
the picture we often see? Is that the one?
I thought the rule was that if you're a butler, you have to be shirtless, right? That's what
Oh,
they
there you
told
go.
me. They're like, yeah, you have to, otherwise you don't get the role. Okay.
Gotta wash the director's car.
Yeah.
You go watch the director's car.
Gosh.
Desmond, what's been your favorite role ever as an actor?
My favorite role ever as an actor. Oh wow. Man, I like I don't know, because I put myself in the movie Spider. I thought that was funny. I'm kind of like the comic relief guy in the movie. So I kind of give myself all the funny lines, which is always what I enjoy watching in scary movies. That was pretty fun to do. Yeah, not to, I don't know, toot my own horn, my own chocolate horn. No, yeah, but I thought that was fun.
My best part was the one I wrote for myself.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, yeah. I was like, I know I'll hire myself, man. Like no one else will hire me. Wait a minute.
I know the best actor for this part.
Yeah,
Gosh.
All right. Well, that's all great. Everybody go check out Desmond. Go check out his many movies. Go check him out on IMDb. This guy's got a long
Good
list
record.
of credits because
CIS New Orleans in there, other stuff too. It's
Mhm.
good.
Oh yeah.
actually he was in a Darth production recently, wasn't he?
Oh yeah.
Still in production, but yeah,
Yeah.
mid production, I guess you could say.
So stay tuned for that, everybody. Do you want to give us a little hint about what that is, Darth?
It's a comedy, and Desmond is a kind of like, I guess you could say, like a Mr. Miyagi type of character, like a
Chocolate
badass Yoda
Yeah.
type. Yeah, chocolate Yoda, basically.
You have chopsticks.
Yeah.
Maybe we need some in there. It's gonna be in the script now.
By the way, everybody, Desmond says jive turkey more
Oh,
than
Jive Turkey.
anybody I've ever known in my life combined. I've heard the term jive turkey more from Desmond's mouth than everywhere else in my entire life combined. And I'm
Combined.
shocked that in whatever 40 minutes today, he has not said it once.
I know.
He's showing great restraint.
He's like, doesn't be professional. Like, come on, man.
He says jive turkey
No,
so
it's-
much that he
That's
just calls
like your
everybody
catchphrase.
JT for short, right? Like,
JT,
like
yeah.
he's tired
Yeah,
of
not yet,
always saying
JT.
it. Yeah.
It's funny. I was looking at my like, if you look at my my Instagram comments, like on any of my posts, so I was like, oh yeah, there's like JTs like there all the time now because I always call everybody JT.
Everybody
like,
calls
what is
you
a
JT
JT?
back now. Yeah.
You're like, what
Yeah.
the hell is that?
Yeah, what is that? What is a JT? Like it's
Hey,
Jive
Jive
Turkey.
Turkey. What's JT stand for?
Yeah.
So those are the two rules. Number one is about knowing Desmond. Number one is you call him JT because he calls you JT and you want to be cool. And two is anything about Paula Abdul. He's in with that because he's always talking about Paula Abdul, and then you're like, is he joking? Is he serious?
Yeah,
I think he's serious. I think he really just loves Paula Abdul.
Not
So
alone.
I love Paula Abdul. I mean, she's
Yeah.
Paula Abdul. She's so talented, right?
Yeah, you're not alone.
In Desmond's presence, just never say an unkind word about Paula Abdul or Judge Judy.
Or Judge Judy, yeah.
all right.
That guy's talking trash about Judge Judy. Who? Where?
We got to move on, everybody. Here it is. Straight up. Time for the bottom line.
Terrible twos.
That's right. Terrible twos. You are right. It's
I'm
like
just
rabbit
kidding.
season.
Nope,
and
you're
duck
right the first
season.
time. Bottom line.
All right. It's the final two questions of the show. The two most important, thank you, Darth, of the show. Here they come, fast and furious. And they are in no particular order. I was thinking of a Paula Abdul joke to fit in there. But all, and I'm like, I can't think of any that'll go in there. Anyway, here they come. Question number one is, Muhammad, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate this first episode
I
of
would
The
rate
Flash?
this I would rate this first episode a 9.2.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Nice.
like I said, I really, really, really liked it, and I was surprised quite how much I liked, especially given I'd seen it before, but just going back and seeing the pieces, and so many things are things that get built on later. Like we dissect that initial thing with Nora. Nora Allen, is her last name. We dissect that so many times later in the future, and seeing that first thing with it, and seeing all those performances, and seeing the build up. Like, wow, I can see why I started watching this show.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's a tough act to follow, you guys. Desmond, same question to you. Scale of 1 to 10.
I'll give it a 7 because I mean I even though it's not my particular type of show, I can see like they had all the ingredients or that would make it like a good show, especially if you're into superheroes or comics. And yeah, a lot. I mean, I was still entertained like while I was watching it. It still had me into the show, which was really, I think, very important. The thing that I didn't like, some of the special effects didn't seem realistic at parts, where I was like, maybe the budget was kind of low, which is understandable. But if I would have given it a 10 if the effects were a little bit better. But yeah, for the show it is.
So the VFX dropped it down to a what?
A 7. Give it a 7, just because it kind of pulls you out of it. You're like, oh, that doesn't look realistic. I'm like, know. But I mean, maybe the budget, they didn't have the budget for it or something.
That's harsh. He's a cold-hearted snake.
Look into his.
Finally, I got one. All right.
Yeah.
Darth, what about you? Scale of 1 to 10.
I'm gonna go with Muhammad on this one, because I definitely have some criticism, but for the most part it was pretty solid. Like, I enjoyed it, but I also thought, besides my personal feelings, it's pretty solid. Like, it was a pretty well done, well put together, well cast, like all around well written. Like, it was just a pretty solid little piece on its own. So yeah, probably 9, maybe even 9.2. Max Muhammad.
Well, which one?
9.2.
Wow.
Peer pressure.
9.2. All right. Well, for me, I'm giving it a straight 6. It was fine. I liked The Flash. I felt like this was a little too CW-y for me, a little too, teens or, early 20s, and, I don't know. Yeah. I just want to see, when I'm watching superhero stuff, I just want to see superhero stuff. And if you want to throw in smattering of scenes like with the dad, cool by me, because that was great stuff. Yeah, but there was a little, it was fine. It was fine. It was good. Didn't blow me away. However, I don't mean to rush through that, but it's because I want to go to, that's another Paula Abdul song.
You're moving very fast.
Very good, man.
I want to go to the next one, which is question number 2, which is, of course, for the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch the first episode of The Flash. But now that the podcast is over and we're free to move about the internet, Muhammad, would you watch the second episode of your own volition?
I mean, I already did. So the answer is already there.
6 seasons, man.
Yeah, no, I absolutely would. Like, if I was seeing this for the first, I mean, I'm not going to, because I've already seen it. I know exactly what happens in the next episode. But I mean, I would absolutely do it again. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably stop after some of the earlier seasons, though. I mean, to be fair, I mean, I've been criticizing the later seasons. It's not that the later seasons are terrible, but it's just a lot of it's repetitive. Like, oh, another speedster. Okay. Oh, Barry's ignoring everybody's device again. Okay.
Running out of ideas.
Can you tell us who that gold guy is behind you, by the way?
That is the Reverse Flash, Darth called it. But actually, if you want to know who it, you actually know.
Is it the wheelchair guy?
It is the wheelchair guy.
That was my guess. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Who actually is not actually Harrison Wells, because Harrison Wells is dead. That is actually Eobard Thawne. Remember that last name, Thawne? There was a detective Thawne who's actually his ancestor.
There's a guy from the future.
Yeah. So, like, I can give you a total spoiler for season 1. Like, the detective Thawne ends up shooting himself to make Eobard vanish, because then he can't exist.
Yeah, watch Looper.
Yeah, that's kind of a bizarre plot.
He's trying to convince us. He's like,
There
if
you go.
you watch this show, you know.
A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, he's making a
Just saying.
promise of a new day. So Desmond, would
I
you
quit.
watch the second episode of Your Own Volition?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, but I will watch The Arrow though because I want to check that out because it looks really good. I feel a connection with that show, man. You're like, oh yeah, you should watch it. Yeah, I'll probably check that one out though. Yeah.
Which
There's
show?
lots of murders in the first season.
The Arrow.
So
Oh,
many
Arrow.
murders. He stops that later, but the first season he just like kills.
Okay. Awesome.
That's funny. That's kind of like half a point because they didn't get him to watch the second episode, but they got him to watch the second series.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Might be even better.
What about you, Darth? Same question.
Yeah, I would watch this show. Yeah. The second
Happily
episode.
or
Yeah.
begrudgingly?
Yeah, I would say happily. I know I did, but way back, and yeah, I don't even remember where I left off on the show, but yeah, I would say happily. I mean, you know, I'll put it on the back of my list, bottom of my list, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I for one teetered a little bit because I'm very curious about The Flash, but I'm not interested in watching any more of this show. I'd much rather like listen to Muhammad's stories about who the characters
Highlights.
are, like the
Yeah,
cliff
give me the
notes, yeah, the
rundown.
highlight. Who are these characters? What happens to this person? How does this go? How does that go? More so than sitting through all of it to get a tiny little nugget, every episode. And I also have, I need to prepare better. I have a Flash soccer ball.
Oh,
I have a soccer
Good.
ball from like the Six Flags. They have like one of those, you have those games where if you throw the football or whatever and you win the prize. I did a kicking thing and, my soccer roots, I kicked it, got the bullseye and they let me pick a soccer ball. And I was like, ooh, I want the Flash. I just remembered that. I got a Flash soccer ball right over yonder. Anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and hang on to that and pretend like the show makes me feel as good as that ball does. Because that ball makes me feel pretty good. Anyway.
That's what you said.
Yeah. All right, everybody. That's about it. If you'd like us to review a show, just in the comments below, say WTF Arrow or WTF Daredevil. Remember, this is Superhero Month, or WTF The X-Mans, or whatever you want to have us watch. Greatest American Hero. Beautiful.
It actually doesn't age great, but it's still fun.
Does it not? I was just watching it not that long ago. By the way, that was like my favorite show when I was a kid.
Oh yeah,
totally.
Same.
Definitely
actually,
dated, but I mean, when you got Robert Culp, all right, anyway.
Oh yeah.
I felt like this show didn't age well for me. It's only 2014, but when I watched it, I could tell that it was several years ago that it was made because it didn't quite have the feel or the social implications that current television is, clearly represents. Like it felt different. I could tell that this was pre 2015 or pre 2017. It's just in the dark ages. But anyway,
dark ages.
So what I'm trying to say is, boy, this podcast went by in a flash.
This podcast was a great revisit of a show that I used to love.
This podcast was straight up some Judge Judy worthy watching time.
Yep.
This show was better than reading a Flash comic because I didn't have to read anything.
There it is. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. Go ahead and give us some likes, some subscribes. Go do something nice for your friends and for your enemies. And remember what Michael Kenyon Rosenberg always likes to say, in this case, Muhammad Noor.
Yep, in this case, don't forget to be an organ donor, and don't forget to watch the first of things.
All right, everybody, freeze frame like the Flash.
shitty smile and pretend that